non-locality of quantum mechanics concept and human mind and health. If you go by the spiritual traditions of Indian philosophers, Rishi Munis, and sages, they always postulated and also published in Vedas and everywhere that there are thousands of references in Indian culture that we human people, we humans are not just human body. Our existence is not limited to our physical boundaries. Okay, we are connected to nature. We human share experiences without physically contact each other. What we the modern science called remote or distant or non-local. Now the scientists who are working on this subject are puzzled by one thing: where this connection comes in contact. It is my brain. The neuroscientist so far had said that it is the creation of brain, consciousness, experiences, perception. These are all creation of your brain. But how can a person experience which is not inside his brain? How can a person predict future event which is definitely not a process of the brain, because brain is a physical thing? How can a material physical thing predict the future event without going into the future physically, which is not possible? Now, brain is a wonderful object. It is a quantum product that I have mentioned in my earlier video. Brain does a lot of things, but it's ultimately a material product. It's a material object, right? And you might have experienced, and we almost have experienced these things, that something event is happens somewhere else with your relatives or friends, and you know nothing about that. At there are some experiments on experiences that somewhere the terror attacks happen, accidents happen. You feel hunches, you feel sensations, you feel disturbed. Sometimes you feel happiness, joy. Sometimes your wave patterns are changed. So the physiological changes in your body and some remote event somewhere is happening, okay, have connection. The problem is this: what physics says, that nothing can transfer or nothing can travel faster than the velocity of light. But what non-locality and entanglement and quantum mechanics suggest is that there is instantaneous connect. There is no even traveling something. There is instant connect, right? And when it means instant, that is beyond time space. Now, where the mind and brain come into the picture, the mind is non-local. You have to understand this first concept. The mind doesn't occupy space-time. It's a non-local entity. Just because of your desire, and mind is, and one more thing is that the mind is a one mind. We'll talk about that later on. It's one universal mind. Your desire to achieve something, to fulfill something, that mind is extended and taken the shape of your physical reality. So you're the mind. In your body, cell has the mind. Trillions of cells are there. They have the mind. They have desire. They are programmed. In a sense, your body is trapped or designed in a time-space dimension. But your mind is not. So what happens is that when your mind works on brain, its locus and focus of consciousness and idea and power is located here. Okay. It means that when you're focusing on something, you're fixing your mind, you're intentionally doing something, your mind gathers its locus and focus here on brain. And in day-to-day life, we don't experience such things. But suddenly, What happens is that when your mind is not actively engaged totally in this process, which we call the physiological process, right? That mind goes, crosses the time space dimension and communicate to other processes in the nature. Now, the neuroscientist says that consciousness is the creation of brain, which is a hard problem of neuroscience and quantum mechanics also. But how can a matter create the consciousness? Now, there is no data, empirical data or evidences. There are a number of case theories and different suggestion, assumption, hypothesis, and I'm okay with that. But this is a basic logical question. How can brain create consciousness in the first place? And if you say the consciousness it's not a material project, how can a material project like the brain can create a non-material entity? So it's the other way around, right? A non-material entity can create the material impressions. So in 2002, as I mentioned in my earlier video, neuroscientist in Dalai Lama has same issue. Now, when you are sitting somewhere or traveling and you are not thinking about any future event, let's say, or any event which is not concerned with you. So there is no data in your brain, there is no memory, there is no knowledge, and you're not concerned with these things. And suddenly thought come to your mind that, okay, something is going to happen. And you talk about this to your friend or sometime yourself and then other people. And then when it happened, that event happened, then you just correlate, oh my God, I knew it. Something is going to happen. I was, though you are not aware of it, though you are not studied it, there was no knowledge, there was no memory. So that proves that the non-locality exists. So it's a non-local phenomenon. The local, when we say the local means the body, which is a local around, because which can be touched, seen, observed. It's yourself and the local surrounding. And the non-local is far away distance, which is not connected to it anyway, physically. You cannot see that, you can access, I mean, not via mobile or something like that, but physically, with any senses. That is called non-local. So local and non-local entity come together because of the mind. Now you can say consciousness, but because of the mind mostly. So my point is this, and I have studied this phenomena, and I remember that Swami Vidyanananda in New Age philosophy, when we used to live in ashram and we used to work as seekers of new philosophy, he used to do non-local experiments for us. And he used to say that, okay, dear seekers, you pray at so and so time, I'm sending you energy. And hundreds and thousands of seekers used to feel its senses. And it was not just out of belief, because Swami used to this non-local experiment for those people who did not know that Swamiji is sending energy to them today. And yet, when Swamiji used to ask them about the results and all these things, they used to corroborate that. They used to correlate that. That was relatable to them. And I'm going to talk about that in the next videos. What exactly experiments non-locally he did. So he used to sit in the ashram in Lonavala and non-locally, without contacting anybody, without talking to anybody, how he used to communicate beyond the space and time. And that is why he defined that mind doesn't occupy space and time. So the quantum mechanics has gone one step ahead, or rather taken quantum leap ahead of Einstein physics, and Swamiji has taken multiple quantum leaps ahead of quantum mechanics. So we will discuss these subjects one by one with the evidences, experiments, experiences beyond the other side. Thank you very much.